Hello, my name is Christine Deal, and I am your instructor for, or the clinical facilitator for NU 442, Section 62 and 61. I just wanted to welcome you to the course and to give a brief overview of what the expectations are, where to find things on Canvas, and just to familiarize y'all with the course. This is an 11-week summer session, so it is shorter than the traditional semester, fall and spring. So there are, the due dates are going to come a little bit quicker than it would in your traditional semester classes. So please make sure that you have all due dates set on a calendar and have a way to have that organized. If there's ever a time when you are going to, maybe you can't make a due date, a deadline, just let me know ahead of time, at least 24 hours, and we can make some alternate arrangements, because I understand that things happen, schedules change, summer, there's a lot going on. So please don't hesitate to send me an email, or you can even text or call me. And all my information is right here in the Meet Your Clinical Instructor page or button. All right, so I've been an instructor full-time at LCSC for 3 years, but prior to working at LCSC, I taught at College of Southern Idaho for 13 years. In addition to that, I have a background in med-surg, public health, psychiatric, oncology, and school health nursing, public health, and long-term care. So there's just a little bit of bio on me, and we'll go back to the modules. And my actual information, as far as my phone number, is all in the summer syllabus. Okay, and so here's my email, and I will put I thought my phone number was on here as well too. I will put that in an announcement. So there are several instructors that are teaching different sections of NU 442 this summer, and so that's why they're all listed on one syllabus. But I am your instructor for this summer, and so that is my email. That's the best to reach me at. And so we'll just quickly go through the syllabus. So there that you can read through, but the course intended learning outcomes are there, methods of instruction, there's experiential learning, so there are some service learning hours, 24 of them to complete, reflective journaling, and there is a community assessment project as well. Okay. Methods of grading, there is a practicum evaluation tool that you will fill out at the end on how you met the criteria that's on that tool. You will log your clinical activities, and then online requirements, which we'll get to. Okay, so there's a total of 90 hours in the course. 24 of those are service learning hours. You must complete all required clinical components and hours to receive a passing grade. So every assignment that is required is due. So you only need a 73% for a passing score, because this is a pass-fail course. But if you have a 76%, but you're missing some assignments, that would result in a failure for the course, because every single assignment is required. Okay, and then so here's sort of a breakdown of the hours and the points. We do have an introduction post that is due May 28th, so Friday at 9 a.m. So please take note of that. It's not Friday at the end of the day. This is important for attendance verification. So post a little bit about yourself, and that way I know that you are committed to the course, and I can verify your attendance for financial aid purposes. There's also a syllabus quiz, and the due dates are listed further on in the syllabus. Service learning, which is 24 hours, where you choose a site, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a nursing clinic focus. It could be at Salvation Army, it could be at a soup kitchen. That those hours can really vary as long as it's something that where you are doing something helpful for the community. I've had students that have volunteered at the refugee center, for example. So there's just a number of things that you can do. This also includes volunteering at churches as well. Okay. And then with that comes a journal as you reflect on and log and tally your hours on your journal. There are also disaster preparedness online modules and trainings. That is a total of 10 hours, and so for 75 points. Community assessment project, which we'll talk about, and then the final report. We have a roundtable film discussion, which will come a little bit later. We all will vote on a list of films that I'll present to watch, and then I will post some questions on that film for peer discussion. There's an education outreach flyer brochure, which is different than your infographic you did or maybe doing in NU 440. This includes more, it's bigger, more words. So I just want you to know, just to make sure that you understand that the outreach flyer and brochure is more involved than your infographic. And then the practicum evaluation tool that you fill out on yourself at the end and how you met the requirements and the criteria for the course. Okay, and again, this is a pass-fail course. Late assignments I've already discussed. Please just let me know ahead of time. And then I've already mentioned your first assignment is actually going to do your introduction and attendance post. And then here's information on the service learning. There's 24 hours, as I've mentioned. These are generally done at nonprofit agencies or schools. You are to arrange these volunteer hours independently, and here are some examples. Like I mentioned, the food bank, senior center, homeless shelter, soup kitchen. If you have any questions regarding if a site's going to work or meet the criteria, please just email me and just get in contact with me, and I can help you determine that. Some agencies do require background checks and some proof of immunizations, and just their general volunteer, what they require for volunteer status, you will just do whatever they require. We don't have the requirements. It's going to be except for an agreement form that we will send you for them to fill out and sign. That just says thank you for taking on our student. This is what the course is. And then your emergency preparedness, it's a total of 10 hours. There are 4 hours that are given for completing the required online modules, but then there are 6 additional clinical hours that you find for yourself to fulfill in the community. And these are some examples. Triage or care for COVID-19 patients, answer calls at a crisis center, volunteer with the Medical Reserve Corps, American Red Cross, and there's some information on those organizations further on in the syllabus. You can participate in a disaster simulation drill. That would be you probably have to contact your local public health department to see if they are doing any of those. Okay, and then also if you serve on a disaster preparedness committee at a healthcare facility, or if there are any additional online training modules that you find. The CDC has a lot of them. You have to, we don't have a list of those, you would have to search those out, but you can certainly find other disaster modules that you can do and complete, and then just write a reflective journal entry on that. Your education outreach is 16 hours, and it is in a population health setting. Examples will be in school nursing, public health department, community health clinic, homeless shelter. So kind of similar to the service learning, and you can do both at the same place, except you can't double count the hours. So you still have to have 24 hours of service learning and 16 hours of education outreach. So the education outreach is you identify a need for education for an at-risk population, and then you talk with the manager there, identify what some needs might be, and then this 16 hours isn't actually hours that you're teaching. That includes hours that you're talking with people at the facility to determine what the education need is, and also the time researching what you need to, what you're going to put in the brochure, the information brochure. And then you will submit a copy of the flyer brochure on Canvas, as well as a summary of your experience at the site. And once I approve it, then you will share it, the brochure with the facility, so that it can be disseminated to the facility's client base if they choose to use it. Okay, so you'll submit it on Canvas. I'll give feedback on maybe some things to add, and then go ahead and present it to the organization that you are producing that flyer for, or the brochure for. And there's a clinical activities journal. You won't get points for it until the very end, but this is a good way for me to keep track of what you're doing weekly or bi-weekly, not bi-weekly, bi-monthly. So every two weeks at least, you can do multiple entries in your journal on Canvas. And so you can make it just a rolling document, and that way I can look at it and see where you're at with your hours, and if you have any questions. So it's actually a good way to communicate with me how you're doing with the course. Okay. Journals must be submitted to the practicum instructor at the end of designated modules. So the course is broken down into modules that are in a time frame, and the outline is going to be listed here on the Canvas site. Oh, 25 points are awarded for each journal that is submitted on time. Okay, so now there will be a 25 points each time. I think we had some, there have been some trouble with some late submissions. So yeah, you will get 25 points to submit that on time. So make sure you have your due dates in a calendar. And it says any journal entry submitted more than 4 days after the date it is due will result in those hours not counting toward overall hours completed. All right, so again, that's just, I'm going to consider that sort of a case-by-case basis, because there are some situations where there aren't any hours to be had initially. I mean, you might wait, it might take 2 weeks for the hours to get scheduled. So certainly I'm not going to count that against you, right? So just let me know about what your schedule is and what you have planned. And that way we can just keep in communication so I know what's going on. The community assessment project, that will take about 20, that will comprise 28 of your clinical hours, because you'll be researching and doing periodic assignments through the summer session, that then will culminate into a formal paper at the end. Okay, and then here are some choices to vote on for your roundtable film discussion. Okay, so I will just go by popular vote there, and then I will post questions when it opens. Talked about your practical evaluation tool that you will fill out at the end. And here is a weekly outline with due dates. Okay, so make sure I would print this page. All right, so there's the syllabus. I'm going to go back to modules and just show you where things are located. Oh, here's a summer. Okay, so there's the syllabus, but then it's also separated out into the summer schedule. So there's just a separate page. It's just the last page of the syllabus, but this is just a quick one-page look. Okay, getting started in the course. All right, so basically carefully read the syllabus and the course schedule, the due date of your introduction, just some general information overview on the assignments that are in the course. Okay, and there's a quiz that's due June 6th. Service learning objectives and requirements. So here you'll find, just read through that. And once you find an agency to work with, send me the information of the primary contact person, their title, the name of the agency and the address and phone number, and then I will then email you a service agreement form that they will sign and that you will scan and then submit to me on Canvas. Okay. So that has information there on that. Disaster preparedness hours, the training modules you'll find here. And then what you'll do is you'll do the training modules, okay? So you'll click here and then go through the modules on that site. And then let me just go back to previous here. And then you will have a quiz that you will take over those modules. Okay, and I believe you have two chances to take the quiz, and it will take the highest score. You have to have at least a 73%, I think, on it. I think that there's a certain score that's needed. Let me see here if it says. Oh, here we go, 54. Okay, yes, a minimum score of 73% or 55 points must be achieved in order to earn the 4 hours credit for completing the modules. Okay. Oh, okay. Retake the quiz for a total of 3 attempts. Okay, very good. And passing the quiz and completing the modules is required in order to pass the course. So like I said initially, everything has to be completed. Okay. And then here's some information if you want to volunteer on the Red Cross or the Medical Reserve Corps that I mentioned earlier. Clinical activities journal. Here's a template, so you can just master activities journal here. And then let me open that. Okay. And so this template is what you will use to fill in your journal and type it in. That way, these boxes will expand. And so this is kind of a way, today's date, what you did, reflection. And it's not just a laundry list, it's a reflection. I would look at the objectives of the course and maybe, pick some of those and reflect on how those objectives were met maybe in that particular day. And then this is where you keep your tally of hours. Okay. And then the education outreach, same thing. And then the disaster preparedness. Okay. Keep a tally and keep them all separate so we have individualized tally of hours. Okay. All right, and then go back to modules. And then this is where you would submit them, the journal entries, and multiple submissions. And so community assessment guidelines, overview of the project. So, and you can just read through this, but these are just some due dates to keep in mind. First, we start with identifying our community of interest, and then we do a windshield survey. That will be in your NU 440 book if you needed to refer to what that is. That is in your public health text. And then problem analysis statement, and then review of the literature based on the problem you've identified. And so you can see roughly every week there is something due. Okay. Analyze the community health needs assessment for the region in your community of interest primarily resides. And so you will have to do a literature search for that. A lot of the areas will have that. Hospitals will do the CHNA. Sometimes those are done every 3 years. Sometimes they're more frequent. And then so on and so on. Design an intervention to meet the objective, what you want to accomplish, and then create a PowerPoint or other presentation to describe your intervention, and then you will contact the organization to obtain the name and email of the individual to whom to send the presentation. So you will, like say if you're doing something about obesity in children and prevention, so you can come up with interventions, literature to support it. Well, first you identify the problem, you have interventions, literature to support it, and then perhaps you would then email. Of course, you would submit that to Canvas. Then I would give you feedback on it, and then you would email that to say the schools for them to maybe they can do maybe there's a good intervention that they can look at for what they can do in the schools. It's just something that identifies what you have researched and what you have seen as a need in this community. And or maybe you can email it to the director at the public health department, okay, or at the clinic, it depends on what your community of interest is and where you're going with that. Okay, back to modules. And this just kind of identifies each component. So all of these components are really just preparing you for the final paper. So all of these you will submit and then receive feedback on, and then you can correct that feedback or utilize that feedback for your final paper, and you put it all into a. It's not a cut and paste. It's a it's a paper, but it includes all these other components that you've already done. So it kind of just puts all the pieces together in a concise whole. Okay, and then there's just information on your outreach flyer, and then just general resources, Healthy People 2030, behavioral risk factor surveillance system. And so let's see. So if you click on something and you get this, don't think, oh gosh, well I can't get it. It's not showing up. So just click this right here, and it will get you to that site, and then you can look through there. Okay. And then, so let's see, I think that pretty much brings us, oh, and then there's like tips for organizing task. Keep your task on task. That might be helpful. When's it due? Break it down into parts. That might be just a helpful diagram for you. Okay. Alrighty. So then we've got we've got some information just on Canvas, Canvas resources, and Canvas overview. Okay. All right. Well, that is just a brief overview of the course. Please feel free to contact me by email, phone, or text, and I will put my phone number in the announcements. Usually it's on the syllabus, so sorry about that. But I will be posting a welcome announcement, and I will put my phone number there. And so feel free to contact me. On the weekends, it is best to probably text me. I don't check my email as frequently on the weekends, but if there's ever a time when I don't get back to you within a day or so, please also just send me a text saying, "Hey, Christine, I sent you an email. Did you get it?" Because it could be that it got buried in 100 emails. So, and I might have just missed it because that's sort of part of human error. But please, if I do miss getting back to you, please just send me a gentle reminder via text. That's perfectly fine, because I want to make sure your questions are answered in a timely manner. If you need extensions, just let me know. And on assignments, just let me know. And this will be a fun course. People really enjoy this. It's great and rewarding and enriching to get out in the community and just see kind of another side of promoting health and another side of healthcare. So I look forward to working with all of you, and I hope you have a good weekend, and I am excited to get started on the 24th. Thank you.